Homeboy hates Wuthering Waves. I am 1,000,000% down to always hear anybody out with complaints for the game, but it's very important to me to differentiate what is valid criticism and what is someone's opinion. Because I do think the things in Wuthering Waves that need to be improved objectively are the voice acting for sure, the story pacing for the first 4 acts, and I also believe that the Echo resource management should 1,000,000% be improved. But I am curious what this guy thinks is so disappointing about Wuthering Waves. Let's find out.
I think Wuthering Wave is a disappointment. This is coming from my first 10 hours of gameplay. I understand that making a video like this will make some of you think that I'm biased or just a hater, but I'll do everything I can to explain to you clearly why I think this game is a huge letdown.
I am 1,000,000% okay with people making videos when they're biased or haters because I have the ability to watch a video critically and I don't get brainwashed by any piece of information that's get put into my brain. So if you just break it down and differentiate reality from fiction, well, it's just fine. It's absolutely fine.
On the first look, it's blatant that the game is very Genshin-esque.
Yep,
the UI is similar,
absolutely.
The things you get to do, the vibes, the grind, it's all very much familiar.
I disagree with the vibes. The vibes are very different. They're a lot more calm. And they're a lot more adult-oriented, whereas in Genshin Impact, I kind of feel like I'm in Fortnite. But yeah, for the overall game feel, though, I can see that the game does feel like Genshin, yes. Hey, what's up, boys? Black Clover Mobile Rise of the Wizard King is back to sponsor another video. You've seen me play this game before. You saw that I enjoyed it, and they're back again. Black Clover Mobile is a turn-based RPG set within the Black Clover universe, where a world on the brink of destruction by a demon was saved by a mage who has come to be known as the Wizard King. Years later, this magical world is once more shrouded in darkness of crisis, but worry not! The newest generation of wizards is here to save the day with stunning graphics as well as immersive tactical gameplay. Black Clover Mobile Rise of the Wizard King is celebrating its half-year anniversary. Join myself and thousands of other players to celebrate the vast series of special events in this truly momentous occasion. Joined by logging in and completing the designated tasks, you can claim 100 free draws. Oh yeah! 100 free! Now hold on to your seats, phones, pets, and loved ones, because the latest and greatest powerhouse character, SSR Spirit Dive Yuno, is here to devastate your enemies. And look good doing it. Yuno not your cup of tea? Well, you're wrong. That's okay. You can roll for Black Ass instead because he's back for a limited time run. Not only are you getting 100 free draws, but during the event, you can get unprecedented opportunity to reroll 909 times. Your favorite character is as good as yours. What are you waiting for? Log in today using the link in my description and pinned comment or scan the QR code on the screen to claim your 100 free draws and a chance at 999 rerolls to lock in your favorite Black Clover character. Love you. Appreciate you. Enjoy the game, gamers.
If you're a Genshin player.
Okay.
Oh, this game really wants to pick up from a certain other game now, does it?
I am curious why he wasn't running up the wall, but that's fine.
They don't.
I also don't understand. Well, let me let him cook. But there's nothing wrong with the game being similar to Genshin Impact. Just like there's nothing wrong with Final Fantasy XIV being similar to World of Warcraft. There's nothing wrong with a Twix being like a Snickers. There's nothing wrong with a cheeseburger being like a fucking burger. There's nothing wrong with League of Legends being like Dota. And I feel like any of these people who say it's too Genshin-like they're just not smart people. They don't understand how business works. They don't understand how the world works. They don't understand how innovation works for a game or a pre-existing concept. They're just stupid.
Don't do a great job at hiding how much they want to be like Genshin when you see the same character progression tiers and battle pass rewards.
Well, that's because there's no reason to hide it. Who cares? This is a game that's going to market themselves as the next step of the biggest, most successful open world gacha game of all time. And I think it is smart for players to have a similar feeling so that way they can transition seamlessly from that game. And what Wuthering Waves does is it makes you feel like you're playing Genshin, but make it feel better than Genshin. So when you go back and you don't have the seamless transitions, the seamless combat, the seamless movement. Yeah, it just feels worse when you go back.
This is going to be hilarious. Hold on. Let me do a review, a side-by-side review of this battle pass.
Okay.
This is Raisin, which they put it on 5. What is 10? Gem. What's 15? The same thing. What's 25? Raisin. There's no fucking way. Stop! Any Genshin players here, open up your Genshin tab right now. Compare the Genshin Battle Pass against this. The thing to understand here...
Okay, the Battle Pass is similar. Does that make it unplayable? Like, what did you want them to do? On tier 15, get you a parent that actually gives a fuck about you? Like, what did you want them to do? If it works for one game, it'll work for the other game. And if it doesn't work for one game, then you can improve from the system. Using Genshin Impact as a blueprint is a very smart thing for a business to do.
Is that it's okay for a game to want to be like Genshin. I mean, who doesn't when it's the...
Great.
most successful gacha game historically and still is.
Good.
I don't even like Genshin very much myself, but I respect any game trying to one-up the other as long as they do a good job at it. However, to top Genshin or become a more enjoyable version of it, the solution should not be to become like Genshin. We don't need another Genshin copy. Instead, any developer should learn from the things that they've done well, repeat them, and study the things they didn't do so well and improve upon them.
And that's what it did. Wait, that is entirely what it did.
That way, you are creating a better game. So, let's talk about what Wuthering Waves did that was good. Obviously, every player who have played or seen the game will tell you that the game has immaculate combat.
Absolutely.
There are added layers to it compared to other games of this genre. These include outro and intro skills, a flurry of attack patterns, and the coolest part to me is the interchangeable extra skill. This skill comes from the relic system. The relics here aren't so much of mashing materials to become an attachment. Rather, whenever you fight a monster for the first time and absorb them, they turn into an echo. The primary echo you set will grant your character a unique ability to use in and out of battle. It's very cool. All the fight sequences animations like how the monsters interact with your hits and vice versa are all buttery smooth and a fantastic experience. I know there are optimization issues, but at least for my PC, I kind of just ran the game fine. Now, beautiful combat is also paired with beautiful world design. The places you can visit in the game are pleasing to the eyes. Most relevant comparison I can make is to Genshin, and I will give it to Wuthering that its visuals are clearly better. There's one more additional aspect to the game that a lot of people
Wait, did he say that Wuthering is purely better?
beautiful world design. The places you can visit in the game are pleasing to the eyes. Most relevant comparison I can make is to Genshin, and I will give it to Wuthering that its visuals are clearly better.
I'm glad he said that. I do agree. However, this guy isn't running the game on minimum brightness, and minimum brightness in Wuthering Waves is the best way to enjoy the game. It makes everything pop more. I think he would have enjoyed it even more if he did adjust some settings.
There's one more additional aspect to the game that a lot of people appraise, and I will too. But I will argue it's not a differentiating factor to sell that it's a great game. That is cutscene animations. When you enter major cutscenes, the characters are very expressive when speaking, and for the fighting cutscenes, they're flashy and impressive to watch.
It is insane.
But this extent of animation is easily attainable in other gacha games. The Hoyoverse titles, Arknights, and many other games have in recent times delivered stunning animations in and out of game.
Nah, not really. Even the way that they tell the basic cutscenes are infinitely improved to the way Genshin Impact tells theirs. There's a lot of fluidity and movement in them that I don't think Genshin Impact has, especially if you look at Act 6 of Wuthering Waves. Arknights also, I have no idea what the fuck bro's talking about. Arknights is quite literally just PNGs on the screen. And that's it. I have no idea what the fuck they're talking about. I do agree that Genshin's quality of story is a lot superior when it goes further in the game. But as far as 1.0 goes, they're both, you know, it's just your preference, a cup of tea. But I think the way that Wuthering Waves portrays the basic cutscenes is very superior. And they also use a lot more animations and cutscenes. They use them a lot more liberally in the story as well, which I really enjoy.
So, I'll overall put it that the visual aspect of the game is top tier.
Great.
But with that out of the way, it's time to talk about all the painful parts of the game. Games are most often accompanied by a story. It's ever important because it develops the characters you like, the world, and sometimes hook you in on the lore and mysteries. Putting it harshly, this game is terrible at telling stories. Right off the bat, you're introduced to how the game revolves around sound, loading you with technical jargons in your front few hours. Difficult words are turn-offs for casual audiences coming in.
I 1,000,000% agree.
Then, this game runs the typical storyline that you, the protagonist, is a mysterious figure who turns out very powerful, making both good and evil people interested in you. The protagonists, whether male or female, are pretty good looking, so that helps. But what doesn't help is that the dialogue you get to choose as the MC never feels very valuable. They're not funny, they don't have that much of a personality. I understand the developers probably think that dialogue choices makes players feel like they have control over the game, but I'd rather sacrifice that control if they don't really add value to my character.
I agree. I don't really enjoy illusion of choice. A lot of the dialogue in Wuthering Waves did feel like illusion of choice for the beginning.
The supporting characters are...
I did like it for Act 6 where you can fuck up, right? And this guy's not getting the Act 5, Act 6, because it gets way better. But Act 6, you'll like fuck up and you'll go through a whole cutscene of why you're an idiot and what would have happened if you chose this battle plan incorrectly. And that part I really enjoyed. It felt very alive. Yeah, I love that.
Also not that fantastic. Straight up, I'm not the type of player appealed by characters showing a lot of skin, having less clothing. They are good looking, and it's okay to see such characters, but it is appalling when all the main characters you meet, except yourself, always feel the need to show their shoulders, their back, their chest. Like this is the kind of thing a cash grab game would do, and it's not the experience I want in a game like this. This makes me respect...
This is just a weird take. It's completely fine to have characters showing skin. I mean, come on, it's fucking 2024. A girl can have her cleavage out. A girl can have her shoulders and ankles out. A guy can have his tummy showing. It's fucking fine. It is what it is.
fact that Genshin
He needs to disclaim that this is a preference. It's not just an objective fact.
has a good balance of this, with some characters bearing some skin, while others don on splendid outfits. Honkai Star Rail and Arknights does an even better job at their character design. To make myself clear, I'm not telling the game to go full halal. Instead, it's about having the right amount of seasoning, haram seasoning, so that the game can taste so much better. Apart from the looks,
I think it nails the outfits pretty well. I think this just comes down to his preference. I don't think this is an objective fact that you can prove that their models are bad because they showed too much skin. I feel like they're fine.
though, voices also not that great. The characters all have a general habit of speaking slowly, and they're not good at having an attractive personality. You don't need a tasteful personality in real life, but your characters that you play in the game needs it, because that's what helps you to make you feel closer to the game.
Absolutely.
The story reader's experience in this game can be described with one word: bumpy. On top of the bad narrative direction, there are many fatal errors, such as voice lines cutting out before they finish, dialogue skipping without you clicking, the inability to scroll long text, which you can on PC by left out and click drag your mouse to scroll. Mouse wheel scroll doesn't work for some reason, and you definitely cannot scroll on mobile devices, because when you try to, it registers as a tab, meaning you'll skip to the next line. What's this? I cannot mouse scroll this. The dialogue no fit the screen.
Yeah, the English localization for this game was very poor. Anybody not enjoying the English voiceover, I highly recommend playing in Japanese. Helps a lot.
How do you...
But you will face some difficult issues like the dialogue just cutting off, unfortunately. But I believe this was hotfixed.
There is no backlog function, so you can't reread if you missed anything. By the way, a big part of the game is that you can skip the story. So if you hate reading stories and want to speedrun, you can, but only for narration that the game considers less important. If they consider it crucial for you to understand, you must sit through the story and feel all the pains I mentioned. Apparently, while filming
this was also hotfixed, and there's a skip button more liberally in almost every cutscene in the game.
this video, the developers added the function to skip all the cutscenes in the game. And that to me is not the solution, because it sounds as if they are not committed to improve the story experience or are admitting that it's shit. If you play the game, you would have seen the
That's a fair take. That's a very fair take.
clunky ways NPCs
But I'd rather not... What's the word? I'd rather not assume a developer's intentions until they're known. With all of the bugs that have happened in 1.0, I'm expecting to see a follow-up talk from the developers themselves when we get near to 1.1. I have a gut feeling.
behave when speaking to you, and gestures and body movements that don't match their voices, some of them looking very awkward. The biggest frustration for me is back-faced characters. This means that the characters who are speaking at the moment never looks towards you, but show you their backs instead. This is a very painful way to sit through the story, because you get disoriented as to who is speaking or who to give your attention to.
I've never had this issue before, to be honest. I actually enjoy the rotating camera work. I would agree if it was a main character talking and their back was to the camera, that would annoy me. But for NPCs, I'm okay with it because I don't care about them anyways.
You see the fatal error with this, where they changed the camera angles 3 times? The first time when they changed the camera angle was facing this medical personnel. The second time was showing all the injured personnel. The third one is this current angle. And you see the mega flaw as to how we're not even having a lot of lines for these 2 characters, and the main person speaking is the person not looking at me. I don't understand why. Is it because they don't want to animate the mouth? Could that be it? They just don't want to do the mouth animation, so they hide it by showing the character's head.
That is crazy. Like, I would 1,000,000% was like right here. Yeah, like not seeing Yang Yang's face there pissed me off. The NPC, I don't care. But yeah, I can see how that would piss somebody off. I get it.
Again! 4th camera angle! 4th! You have the perfect opportunity to flip to her. But you don't do it, and you put it on these 2. Being in 2024, I think it's a bare minimum standard that a story-based 3D game should understand how to have conversational manners. The manners here being, if someone speaks to you, you can look straight at them. It's not to say that the characters must
I think that's a great take.
always face you, but it's a problem when the characters almost always do not do so. In short, the switching of camera angles in this game is horrendous.
I actually think that camera angle for that scenario where you want to show all 3 characters looking up atop a cliff, I actually think that's one of the only camera angles that you actually can show. I'm actually fine with that camera angle.
Don't let them run off. Are we gonna chase them?
哥，我走不动了，太饿了。别说我们实在没办法了才偷东西的。你们是遇到什么困难了吗？这不是现在北边战事紧张吗？我们这些人没有物资，实在活不下去了。
Wait. Who was the first person I just spoke to? Was it like a bandit attacking them? I don't even know who I was speaking to. The camera angle didn't even show me who was talking. Now, remember that I told you that I can't remember certain
I thought he was going to say, how'd they get down from the rock? But, okay, that one I don't really understand what he has a problem with.
names. Understand this, I'm Chinese myself.
And also, you can just look at the mouse and see who's talking.
我可以讲中文，我是来自新加坡。The thing is, the decision of this game to immediately dive their players to their first region being Chinese-based is utterly strange, especially when you're releasing this to the whole wide world. There are tons of Chinese gacha games where the environment is set solely in China, but I don't think that's what Wuthering Wave is meant to be, and will explore other cultures and places. Setting stone in China first is going to give your players a wrong impression. Even as a Chinese myself, the flurry of over 20 Chinese names is quite draining.
I also agree. The names really need to change. Now, dude, the Zhen, Xing, Jingyan, Jian, Chisha, like, it would be nice to have more, like, globally acknowledgeable names like Kakarot, Calcharo, you know, like, words that make more sense and don't blend in with so much. Like Alto, yeah, I think Alto's cool. Yeah, like Hu Tao, yeah, Hu Tao's a good name, to be honest. Ganyu's good too. Or, you know, Nappa, Jeff, Vegeta. Yeah, Encore. Isn't Encore literally an English word? Oh, it is literally an English word. What I'm saying is, there is a barrage of names that just sound the fucking same when you just line them all up, man. No, I agree. I think a more globalized terminology for names would help a lot.
This is why a lot of global gacha games don't choose China as the first region to explore. The US is the second for Genshin, Luofu also the second in Stario, and Langmen or Yan is explored 7 months into the game for Arknights. So I really don't quite understand if the game is jeopardizing its potential of a player base by going to Huanglong first. To become better than another game, I've said that you either imitate the good things or you improve upon the bad ones. And finally, this game does the opposite in some areas, meaning they are worse or they adopt the equally bad qualities. What the hell is this side-scroller for a time change rather than a clock? Things setup being in 2D.
True. No, he's right. No, this bit's kind of cooking, man. He is actually kind of cooking. He is really focusing on the minute details. Yeah, I think the clock fucking blows too.
Instead of 3D, menu UI looking like it's from a cheap template online, idle voice lines playing every goddamn 20 to 25 seconds,
Stopping to relax once in a while serves for a stronger
and no 120 FPS support. Seriously, a game with a PC client in 2024 of this genre capping out at 60 FPS. This video started with me
It used to have 120 FPS. They took it down. I think they're fixing it currently. The idle lines, they don't really bother me, but I can see them bothering other people.
explaining that this game very clearly wants to compete with Genshin, or experience a piece of its success. It uses the same business model as Genshin, having terrible gacha rates, sharing the same high prices for pooling currencies in today's economy, and the
It is really expensive, guys. Like, it is very expensive. Like, $100 only getting you four 10 pulls is fucking insane.
free pooling currency not being very easy to attain.
Now, I will say, if you do grind every drop of currency, every patch, currently, you should be guaranteed a new character every patch. Because in the first update cycle, we're getting 240 pulls. So I think you're just supposed to grind, but yeah, I think it's a little bit bullshit. I think if you spend $100, you should get the character. I really do. I really think $100 should secure you the character. But that being said, they don't really have to change anything because their rates are actually better than Genshin's. So technically, this game is cheaper than Genshin and Hoyoverse, or Hoyoverse. So, I mean, I get it. And the weapon banner is so much better, but even still, $100 for 4 10 pulls is insane.
10 pulls is 40 fucking bucks. Another fucking Hoyoverse piece of shite. It is quite harsh for me to speculate like this, but it feels like the developers came into this with the greed of wanting to earn the same caliber of Genshin. Again, nothing wrong with that mindset because all of us want to earn money, but it's about how you do it. If the game is well polished, brilliantly made, then that desire is fully justified. For what it is, this game feels like it was rushed out to meet the company's expectations, and it just turns out to be half-baked and sloppy. A brilliant
I really think that is way too overly harsh for... I don't enjoy the camera angles for the words. The localization is hit or miss sometimes. I feel like saying it's half-cooked, it's almost there. I feel like there are some issues that can be fixed very easily, but there's a lot in this game that is fully like the best in the entire fucking market right now. Like the combat and the movement and the exploration and the environmental design, I think is the best in the market right now. But I do agree, if he were saying the story aspect of Wuthering Waves is a disappointment, sure. And some of the optimization at this moment, sure. But I feel it's very, very overly harsh.
real-time combat game with stellar visuals, only to be ruined by the choice of making it gacha rather than a standalone game, and then to give it a conversely painful auditory experience, not giving players much reasons to remember it for. This is why I'm disappointed with Wuthering Waves.
I'm actually 1,000,000% okay with it being gacha. I think people get way too angry about a game being gacha, but I enjoy the game being gacha.
I'll still play the game to clear out the story.
And the reason why I enjoy games being gacha is because if this were to be a standalone game, we would get this game, we would beat it in 80 hours, and then we wouldn't be able to play it again for another 3.5 years until the DLC comes out. Due to the fact that it's gacha, it gets consistent funding, and then we get new balance patches and new updates every 6 weeks. Which I enjoy, right? I like playing gacha games because they're frequently updated and new shit's coming all the fucking time because they get consistent funding. So I'm okay with that. Elden Ring was a great game, but I played that for 2 days 3 years ago, right? This game, I have already put in 9 straight days of playtime, and I'm still doing new shit every single time I fucking log on. And when I'm done, I just wait 5 weeks. I have a new region to explore. I have new characters to get. I have new story to experience. And yeah, it's a very fun experience of being able to essentially have a game that follows you and a game that you follow. It's nice.
And I understand that the game is rushing out hot fixes every single day. People have said that the gameplay will get much better later in the game. But for anyone starting out the game fresh, why would they wait until 20 hours in the game to experience the good stuff when the first 5 to 10 hours of their game have been very painful? I hope Wuthering Waves will improve, maybe with the help of this video. And please share with me as well, how do you feel towards this game? I hope it was a great video, and thank you for watching. See you in the next one. Bye bye.
I actually think that was a great video. I'm actually going to subscribe. I think people are being overly harsh on this. Well, that being said, he's also being overly harsh. But yeah, to say Wuthering Waves is a disappointment, I think it was a bit of a misleading title. I think it would have been better to say I have issues with Wuthering Waves. But yeah, the game does a lot really good, but I agree it can be a lot more fine-tuned. I do think the beginner experience will definitely turn a lot of people off, and that definitely does need to be fixed 1,000,000%. The first 5 hours, first 10 hours should be fucking perfection, and they really dropped the ball. It's the same thing with JoJo's Part 1. A lot of people don't like it, which made people not ever get to Part 2, Part 3, Part 4, Part 5, which is just fucking perfection. So I do agree, working on the beginner experience, the beginner story is very important. Fixing that up, making some more optimizations to the UI as well as the clock, and working on some of the dynamic camera angles. However, he's only 10 hours in. He hasn't seen Part 5, Part 6. I think his improvement or his opinion would improve quite a bit. He hasn't gotten there yet. But for 10 hours through, I think he made some pretty good points. Yeah, this video isn't as controversial as I thought. I think he's actually being pretty fair. Just a little bit harsh, that's all.